This video will be looking at the muscles of the chest, the abdomen, and the front leg. So we're going to start off with some of the most obvious muscles on the rat. One of the first and largest here is the pectoralis major. This large pectoralis major runs from the acromion, actually of the shoulder, to the sternum. You can see it's a big, tough, thick muscle. Just beneath the pectoralis major is a second sheet of muscle that's thinner. You can see it here. Focus. This is the pectoralis minor. Pectoralis minor, once again, it's a synergist. It works with the pectoralis major to pull the rat arm medially to the body. Now we're going to go and look at some of the muscles of the arm. So on the medial side of the arm here, one of the smaller muscles on a rat compared to you, but still present, is the flexor of the rat arm. You can see here, this is the rat's primary flexor. This is the biceps brachii. You might have to tease off quite a bit of connective tissue to be able to see it, but you can definitely see it right there. From the biceps brachii, the other main muscle of the arm that I need you to know we're not going to learn these individually, but as a group, these are the flexors. The flexors here would be on the ventral side of the arm, dorsal side of the arm, and their main job, you can tell, they flex the paw of the rat, so they pull it down and in to flex. The next area I'm going to look at are more on the lateral side of the arm. The muscles on the lateral side, let's start with the biggest, most obvious, this one. This large muscle on the back side of the rat arm is the triceps brachii. So the rat, this would be using basically a running muscle and a jumping muscle, very large on the rat. Just above the triceps brachii, we see a sheet. This sheet is the deltoid group. Know this, we have the individual deltoids. This is the main muscle I want you to know for the deltoid group. So triceps brachii, deltoid. Third muscle, again smaller on the rat. This is one that would help, it would actually help the biceps brachii. Let's see if we can see it a little better here. This is the brachialis muscle. Much smaller and on the lateral side of the rat versus the medial for the biceps brachii. Let's go back up and follow our muscles now from the triceps brachii to the deltoid to a large sheet of muscle that extends from the posterior portion of the rat's shoulder up to the base of the skull. Whoops, here we go. Posterior portion of the rat's shoulder up to the base of the skull. And actually, if we had a little more of this connective tissue off, you would see that it has portions down here. And when all taken together, it would be described as being in a trapezoid shape. This is the trapezius group that I would want you to know. So you can always remember to learn these muscles in groups. We have the triceps brachii, just above it, the deltoid group, then the trapezius group. Running beneath the shoulder, back, off the screen again. Beneath the shoulder, back to the spine, this large, broad, flat piece of muscle. This is the latissimus dorsi. So the latissimus dorsi, and as I remove it here, you can see it's almost like a wing when it comes off the rat. Just beneath the latissimus dorsi, you can see, I can pull it back here so the camera can see, we have these small little muscles, but fairly tough, that extend from the shoulder to the ribs. These are the serratus ventralis. So when you do your dissection, you're going to have to pull back the latissimus dorsi and use your probe to get up under the serratus ventralis to be able to see this muscle group. Beyond that, we also have the abdominal muscles on this side. The abdominal muscles of the rat are a little bit hard to dissect out, but you should still at least know their orientation. Two, I think you should be able to see. One might be a little bit difficult, but let's take a look here. The first group are the external obliques. The external obliques, if you can see their striations or their lines, tend to run from cranial to caudal in diagonals and are on the very outside. So really, you guys are all seeing, when you see the body wall of the abdomen of your rat, those are the external obliques. The way I opened this up was I very, very carefully with the scalpel made an incision, not too deep, but just until it felt like it went through a tissue layer. Then teased back with my scalpel. And what I can see underneath here, I don't know if the camera has enough detail to show it, is there is muscle tissue now that is running in the opposite direction. So my external oblique was on the outside, striations running from cranial to caudal, and also from lateral to medial. So I pulled back this first layer of tissue. I have a second layer of body wall tissue, and if you can see the striations, they're running more from cranial to caudal. They're going from medial to lateral. No, you probably can't see it, but you should be able to see it on your own rat. That is the internal oblique. Now, I'll be honest, I can see it just a little bit myself. I don't think I could even possibly get it to the point where I could pin it and ask you on a practical for it. But on the very inside here, we have one last group of muscles. These are the transversus abdominis, which run in a similar type of way to the external oblique, but not exactly the same. Very, very thin group. A few other bits of muscle I want you to know. I think you can kind of see it here. Running right down the middle, it's a little bit of a darker area, we have the rectus abdominis. The rectus abdominis are the muscles, then they really run straight from the base of the rib cage all the way down to the anus. They run straight up and down. Rectus means straight, so those are the rectus abdominis. These would be actually the same muscles that, say, someone who does a lot of sit-ups and gets a six-pack and really develops those, that's your rectus. Right in the middle, there is a midline of the rectus abdominis. This is called the linea alba. This is the center line, and it's just a good anatomical reference point to decide basically right and left halves of the animal. So that concludes the video of muscles of the forelimb, chest, and abdomen.